We're going to continue looking at the spread of Islam, but I want to go back to Muhammad and some of the terms that we discussed before spring break. A few of you came to conference yesterday and have asked questions over email about some of the terms and about some of the historical biography of Muhammad and the Arabian Peninsula. So I want to start there and review that quickly and then go on to the caliphates. So the Arabian Peninsula around 570 CE, we talked about how it is in a cosmopolitan location, international location, interregional location between the Indian Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, Europe, Africa, and Asia. And the city of Mecca itself is important because it is centrally located on the Arabian Peninsula and along the Red Sea for trade. There are lots of caravans coming through Mecca. There are Zoroastrian and Christian and Jewish merchants that are coming through. Again, cosmopolitan international location. The Arabian Peninsula in 570, more of a rural population, Bedouin, which means Bedouin are groups of nomadic peoples that are moving from location to location on camels. And so it's a dispersed population. There's not much water. So what we've got going on is people moving around these Bedouins around the Arabian, this very dry peninsula. Though we do have some urban areas like Mecca. Mecca, important site because it houses the Kaaba, which has polytheistic idols located in it. And so lots of different tribes along in the Arabian Peninsula are going to come to Mecca. The group, the tribe that controls Mecca is the Quraysh. They are powerful because they can tax these pilgrims for entrance into Mecca who are trying to again see the idols and worship at the Kaaba. So they're taking advantage of financially this situation, this religious site in Mecca, and again gaining wealth from it. In 570 CE, Muhammad is born. He is orphaned and his uncle takes over custody of him. He is a member of this, like I previously mentioned, powerful, wealthy Quraysh tribe that control Mecca. His uncle thinks it's wise that he spend some time with a poor Bedouin tribe so that he understands what it means to not have material items and whatnot, and understand that we need to take care of one another. Muhammad, as he gets older, he gets into the profession of trade, and he's a merchant and works for a woman named Khadija, who is older than he is, more experienced than he is. He marries her and learns a lot from her. He, again, is a merchant who is traversing the Arabian Peninsula and coming into contact with Jewish, Christian, Zoroastrian merchants and learning from them. He's very, very interested in religious ideas. In 610, he is going to be meditating and praying in the mountains, a cave in the mountains surrounding Mecca, and have the Night of Power and Excellence, where the angel Gabriel reveals a lot of what will be revealed in the Quran, and he takes this message back to Mecca and tells his wife and confidants. Slowly, the message grows in terms of people knowing about it, the population. This is a threat to the Quraysh. Remember, they're prosperous off of a polytheistic Kaaba shrine. And so this is not good for their standing. So they send soldiers after him. He narrowly escapes to Medina. You can see Medina to the north of Mecca right here, and the flight is called the Hijra. In 622, he's going to make this Hijra, Hijra, and he's going to establish the community of Islam in Medina, and the community is called the Ummah. The city leaders welcome him in. Not everyone is welcoming, and there will be military attempts to defeat him. And again, what is so amazing is this person with no military training is successful in these battles and starts to consolidate territory around Medina. He returns to Mecca in 630 and destroys some of what is being housed in the Kaaba and preaches a message of monotheism. He is compassionate. He does not slaughter people in Mecca, but shows compassion, and returns to Medina, where he dies in 632. His father-in-law, Aisha's father, one of his wives, Abu Bakr, will be the Caliph, Caliph, the successor or leader. And there's going to be disagreement with who succeeds. Some people believe that his cousin Ali, Ali, should be the successor and the lineage should go through him. There are disputes, there are assassinations after Abu Bakr, and this is going to be one of the delineation points between Sunnis and Shiites. Sunnis believe that the Caliph or successor should be picked by the Ummah or community of Islam, whereas Shiites believe that lineage goes, the Caliph or leader goes through Ali, again, his cousin. So Sunnis and Shiites make up the two major sects of Islam. There are going to be mystical fraternities, Sufi brotherhoods, that we'll talk about next week. So again, that's a little bit of background. And again, if you have questions, come to conference or email or ask me. I know that's a lot. So territory continues to be taken and consolidated after Muhammad's death, after Abu Bakr. Again, there's lots of jostling for power, and eventually the Umayyad Caliphate, which has a connection to the Quraysh tribe, is going to take over. It's short lasting. You can see the year 661 to 750, but I want you to look at this map and see in that short period all of the territory in North Africa, the Middle East, again, the Arabian Peninsula, that the Umayyads are able to take. And importantly, they take Spain and much of the Iberian Peninsula. They try to go into France. In 725, there's a battle called the Battle of Tours, where Charles Martel, Charlemagne, important political figure in European history, his grandfather is going to defeat a force and push back the Umayyads back again into the Iberian Peninsula. Historians like to ask, revisionist-wise, what would have happened if 725 the Battle of Tours would have gone differently? Would the Caliphate have gone into a very, very fragmented Europe? You can see this. This is after the fall of Rome, there is a feudalistic, fragmented, divided Europe. You can also see the green, the Byzantines. So the Byzantine Empire with Eastern Orthodox Christianity is going to control this really important part of the Eastern Mediterranean and entrance in the Black Sea. So the Umayyad Caliphate is short-lasting. One of the reasons is there is preference given to Arab Muslims, meaning from the Arabian Peninsula, over non-Arab Muslims. And the non-Arab Muslims are going to take grievance with this, and there are going to be rebellions and whatnot, and that is going to be an important factor in the decline of the Umayyad Caliphate and the collapse of the Umayyad Caliphate. And the Abbasid is going to take over in 750, and you can see have a much longer reign of longevity. They, the Abbasid, are going to try to promote equity and get rid of this preference and and advantages for Arab Muslims and give preference to just Muslims, whether you're from North Africa or the Iberian Peninsula or the Arabian Peninsula. If you're Muslim, then there's equity and social mobility for you in terms of profession. So that's something that's important, this idea of social mobility. If you're Muslim, it doesn't matter if you're from North Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, España, and even in Persia, there's idea of equity if you are Muslim. Again, I want to reinforce the idea of women. Sorry, I should be pointing down here for the opposite. Women had more rights, and this goes back again to Khadija and the right to inherit property, the right to divorce. All of these rights are greater than those that women have in other places in the world. So that's something really important to remember. With these large, expansive empires, territories, again, across the Middle East, North Africa, into Europe, there's an idea of Dar al-Islam, the house or abode of Islam, Dar al-Islam. And when we talk about Dar al-Islam, we're talking about what connects all of these people living in different places with different cultures together. And those factors are ulama. Ulama are religious scholars, madrasas, schools, religious schools, universities, mosques, the Quran tie all Muslims together in Dar al-Islam. But we also have to know that there are this is an expansive territory with very different cultures. So not everything is practiced exactly the same. And one great traveler, Ibn Battuta from Morocco, is going to go on a pilgrimage that lasts almost 30 years and traverses 70,000 miles. Just an amazing, interesting Hajj. But he's going to comment on people in Morocco, the women, that they do not wear enough clothing and be critical of this. So this is an example that although there are things in Dar al-Islam that tie Muslims together, there are cultural practices that are different. And I want to also focus on Spain, and we've got the Alhambra here in Alhambra, Spain, and this is a mosque, and we also have the Great Mosque of Cordoba. And this idea of in Spain there was religious tolerance and syncretism, or the blending of culture and ideas. And what historians see is the greatest philosophy, the greatest science, the greatest thinking. Technology is being inspired here because you have Jews, Christians, and Muslims coming together in this tolerant environment and sharing ideas and creating amazing, amazing intellectual thought. So that's something that in the region of Spain is Andalusia in the south. Again, Alhambra and Cordoba. Great thinking. One of the great Islamic thinkers is Rashid al-Din Tusi, and he's a mathematician and astronomer. And he comes up with this idea that heavenly bodies travel in epicycles or circles. And he's going to be so influential that Copernicus, famous for overturning the Ptolemaic system and introducing the heliocentric, sun-centered system, is going to be heavily influenced by Rashid al-Din Tusi's work, and so inspired that he's going to use, even though it's not correct that there's going to be more elliptical planetary motion. This is the kind of advanced thought that was going on in Dar al-Islam and in the Islamic world that was much more powerful than what was happening in Europe simultaneously. So a really fascinating caliphates and cosmopolitan synchronistic territory